Hello and welcome to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Dave Karger. For the next 6 Thursday nights here on TCM, we're going to be premiering a brand new limited documentary series called The Power of Film, hosted by Howard Suber, Professor Emeritus at UCLA's School of Theater, Film, and Television. And I'm very happy to be joined by the two executive producers of this new documentary series, Laura Gabbert and Doug Prey. Hello to both of you.
Hi.
Hello.
We're so glad that you're partnering with us on this exciting new doc series that you've created. You are both former students and teaching assistants, graduate students, I should make clear, of Professor Suber's. So obviously you are big fans of his. For anyone out there who's not familiar with him, what makes him such a great professor of film?
Everyone at UCLA wanted to take Howard's classes, animation students, screenwriting students, directing students, producing students, because he taught a class that really resonated for all the different disciplines within film. He really taught about the structure and the sort of principles in popular, memorable films. And he also taught it in such a way that it really resonated personally with students. I don't know, Doug, if you want to say anything else about that.
No, it's just definitely. I mean, the things that he teaches are so universal that they apply to all kinds of filmmaking. If you're a screenwriter, if you're Laura and I make documentary films, all of the lessons and things we learn from there do apply to that. It applies to short form, applies to commercials, applies to, it kind of, because he's talking about things that go back 20,000 years. He's almost like the Joseph Campbell of filmmaking. Like he really is able to say, don't you see these things? We've been doing this for 20,000 years, and studying it for 2,500 years. And he's really good at that. And it's always epiphanies. He's like, I loved that film, but I didn't know why. And so he breaks that down.
Yeah, so just to kind of set this series up for people who are about to start watching it here on TCM tonight, we show a lot of documentaries about classic film. This series is different because it's not so much about the behind-the-scenes stories of the making of these films. It's more about how we as movie audiences respond to these films, live with these films, interact with these films. It's really the psychology of being a movie-going audience. How would you describe what's different about this classic film doc?
I think that one of the things that Howard really emphasizes it's not the psychology of the characters, it's really the psychology of the audience. And really, transcendent, lasting films really have that characteristic, that there's something about it that reflects back on you, or you project your sort of emotions and feelings onto that character, because sometimes it's a paradox, sometimes it's a family sort of conflict. But he finds those themes in popular, memorable films that really resonate and kind of stir within you, I think.
I would just add that it's not a technical series at all. It's not, he never talks about, it's funny because in episode 1, he does talk about scale and the power of close-ups and that kind of lensing. But the truth is, it's not at all technical. It's all about what's in here. And he's always bringing it back to how do you feel? That all storytelling is about feelings, and we can relate to that. We can relate to Michael Corleone. We can relate to all these great characters because it's like our lives. And I'm just repeating what he's about to say many times over and very powerfully, but it's a different kind of way to look at films than we're used to.
The first episode really is a great introduction to this whole series and introduces us to Professor Suber. The episode is called Popular and Memorable, which are two words, Laura, that you just used in your previous answer. So I find that so interesting. Why are those the two big buzzwords, and what's the significance of the italicized "and" in the middle?
Well, I think because really the focus of his work is why do some memories last? Why do we still want to watch The Godfather? Why do we still want to watch The Graduate? And he really looks at the films that were popular in their day, but that are memorable, that have stayed with us, and we go back and watch over and over again, and we show our children, and we remember it, or we watch it every year at Christmas time, for example. He's really trying to understand, of the thousands of films that come out every year, why are there just a handful that last?
Like 10 or 20 years. And so his whole thing is, it doesn't count if it's popular. There's huge box office hits that you forget about a year later. And he says this, but he's interested in what's popular and memorable. It has to last. And some of the films are newer, so he's not quite sure if they'll last, but he's he's guessing, or he's talking about some contemporary films as well. They're just very powerful that he thinks might have that lasting power.
Well, what do you say we introduce our audience to your favorite professor, Howard Suber, huh?
Sounds good.
Really good. Thanks.
Laura and Doug will be back with me next week for another episode. But right now, let's watch The Power of Film, Episode 1, Popular and Memorable.
Next on TCM, A Place in the Sun, then The Power of Film, Episode 1, and later, Do the Right Thing. TCM is the truth, Ruth.